My father-in-law was a man who always had to be busy. So he had a variety of hobbies: vegetable gardening in the spring, summer, and fall, taking care of roses around his yard, in the evenings making latch hook rugs, and for a while he was a rock polisher. When he died, I was bequeathed his rock polishing kit, and so I did it for a while. Rock polishing is a very interesting hobby. It takes a lot of time, but not a lot of talent. You take a handful of rocks and you put them in a rubber cylinder, fill the cylinder with water and some very coarse grit, and then you turn it on a spinning wheel and just let it go for days and weeks on end. And then you take it off the wheel and you open up the cylinder, you rinse off the rocks, rinse out the cylinder, put more water in, put the rocks back in, put in a finer grit, and you begin the process all over again. You continue this process for 5 or 6 times until eventually, many weeks and even months later, you had the final rinse, and all of that grit brought out a beauty in the rocks that you never saw before the process began. In the Gospels, immediately after his baptism, Jesus is led into the wilderness by the Spirit of God. Being led by the Spirit indicates that there was something for Jesus to learn and something for us to learn also. In the wilderness, he was tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And as I think about the temptations, I think more about not what he was tempted with, but rather the fact that maybe the temptations were a kind of grit that helped reveal to Jesus, and more importantly to us, who Jesus is, the nature of his ministry, and the nature of our ministry. It's also interesting to note what it was that Jesus said no to in his temptations. What we say no to is just as important, if not more important, than what we say yes to. How many of us are overcommitted by saying yes to too many things? How many of us miss the important because we're simply too busy? In this season of Lent, this time of reflection, I invite you to consider your own schedule and learn how to say no a bit more. Reevaluate your priorities and say no to things like, no, I will not participate in that gossip. No, I will not agree with that prejudicial statement. No, I will not walk by the man who is hungry without offering him something to eat. And no, I will not walk by the woman on the street who is ill-clothed without offering her garments to fit the weather conditions. In this process of Lent, as we go closer and closer to Easter, which is the very heart of the Christian faith, I hope that both you and I will find our temptations to be a type of grit, revealing an inner beauty that we never knew we possessed. This revealing of an inner beauty is a lifetime process, and it is something that the theologians call sanctification, being made more and more in the likeness of Christ. I'm Frosty Crummell, the minister at First Federated Church in Peoria.